No problem. That's okay. You tell me when. You ready? We rolling? Welcome to Oath Keepers Now. I'm Mike Chisholm. Well, today's show is going to be a little different. I basically had someone lined up. Unfortunately, as we all have our, shortcomings and our unannounced things coming up, my guest couldn't make it today. I'm sure he'll be on the next show. So if I jump around a little bit here from one subject to another, I apologize, and I appreciate your patronage in watching my show, as I like to, basically tell everyone out there what's going on and how we can help our community. Speaking of helping our community, I have a couple of announcements, which doesn't change. One, there's a class every Friday at 1 p.m. It's called The Making of America. And Ron Clayson is the instructor, teacher, whatever you want to call him. It's at 150 North Main in Old Pocatello. I would suggest you all showing up. At least give it one time, give it one try. It is amazing what you learn, how the Founding Fathers took the time to have our Constitution. The Constitution that we've been living by for over 200 plus years. Even though lately, as you all know, it's been a long and arduous journey to keep our republic whole. If you guys got a chance, even if you come in for 5 minutes, it's a really, really good class. And that's at 150 North Main in Old Pocatello, and ran by Ron Clayson. If you want any further information, you can call me at 226, well, area code, of course, 208-226-6553. What else we got here? If you don't know, for the last couple of days, there's been what we call a Constitutional Day Camp here in Pocatello, and children of all ages have been participating. They will end this Friday. Basically, it was my phone's ringing, but we won't stop there, and that's my error. And where is my phone? Oh, well, we'll let the phone keep on going. Anyways, this Friday, let's see what time it is. At 7 p.m. at Marydale Park, the children that's been attending these classes, which is from 8 to 12:30 every day, will be holding. The phone got me messed up. Sorry, guys, but hey, this is TV. The children will be holding a little skit about what they've learned about, the Founding Fathers, how the Constitution was formulated, how the men and women worked very hard to get our country, to get the Constitution to where it's at. I would suggest everyone showing up. It's at 7 p.m. at Marydale Park, and I think you'll enjoy it. Last year I went to their skit, show, whatever you want to call it, and it was great. Just the atmosphere, gosh, the atmosphere was great. People of like-minded people. Sometimes I repeat what I say, but I always use the excuse I'm from Hawaii, which I am. So my English is not as good as it should be. Anyways, I'm being repetitive here. If you got a chance, show up this Friday, 7 p.m. at Marydale Park. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And also, there's a movie called Taking Chance. And basically what it's about a soldier being returned to their home after they've been killed in action. And that will be held at also 150 North Main, upstairs in the theater there. Well, it's not a theater, but they've made it into like a theater. And it's $5, but what that $5 will do, it will help the Bannock County Republican women to continue to have things like the Constitutional Day Camp and many other activities that are around the Constitution. I keep on saying Constitution, but that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, guys. Well, let me switch my notes here. And like I said, hey, this is all, I guess the word is impromptu. I'm just shooting from the hip. If you guys enjoy it, great. If you don't, hey, all you got to do is turn that channel. No big deal. Let's go. Notes. go back to here. Hey, let's talk about what just happened this past Friday. We're talking about President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had planned on signing a UN treaty for the small arms. A lot of people talked about it. The NRA, Gun Owners of America, you out there, many people said, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? As you all know, when a treaty is signed and, of course, ratified by the Senate, it is binding. It is binding. It is a constitutional binding treaty. Luckily, we had enough of Americans that called, wrote, emailed, tweeted. My gosh, we've got so many ways to communicate with people today. It's incredible. Many, many, many ways. But at least our voices were heard. Every time my cell phone goes off, I get off track here. I really, that's an error, and I do apologize to you guys. Anyways, no one signed it. It didn't go forward. And I think it showed what we in our republic here, the American people, our fellow countrymen and women. When I say countrymen, that's another thing. I got an email the other day. I got an email because, as you know, I run Oath Keepers in the state of Idaho, which I've been very privileged to have that position. But I had an email the other day, and they said, well, you always talk about countrymen. Well, when I say countrymen, it means men and women. We're all one here. Gosh, we're all one. All these being politically correct, making sure we want to hurt nobody else's feelings. It's like the other day, and okay, I'll probably get in trouble for this one, but that's okay, I've been in trouble before. The other day, I saw, I guess, what is it, Muslim woman that has these burqas. And there was a couple of kids out, and this was by Albertsons, and they said, oh, who's that lady? Is she dressed for Halloween? And I guess it was her husband, or I don't know, it was a male that was with her, got really upset and started to scold the boys, said, no, this is their blah, 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 blah. It's interesting how we can bend over backwards for a different culture, and yet Christians, yes, I said Christians, oh my gosh, and I am a Christian. Yet Christians have to walk a fine line. Anyways, I don't want to go any further there because next thing I know, who knows, I'll be in the paper again, but I've been in the paper a lot. Let's see. Hey, that's a good thing to bring up now. The TSA. You all heard about the TSA. From the airport to now, assisting with the local police, and when I say local, not here, thank goodness. They haven't come to Idaho yet. Who knows? Maybe they have. I haven't heard anything about it. But they've been doing what they call assisted roadblocks with the local law enforcement, be it sheriff, state, county, whomever, and saying that, oh, they're doing training purposes. But what happened? I thought the TSA was for the airport. It appears that they're slowly putting pieces throughout our country to envelop us and to control the general population. I thought state police, local police, sheriff's department, that's what their job is. I don't see any reason for the TSA to be on our streets, to be in, well, the train stations too. I guess we don't have a train, well, we have trains going through Pocatello, but why do they need to? Like I said, this is more or less an impromptu. I haven't really prepared for this show, so y'all can laugh at me, but I'm trying to give it a shot here. Usually I have my notes a lot better than what I got right now. But the bottom line is, we don't need TSA in our state. We have great state police. We have great sheriff. We have a great sheriff here, Sheriff Nielsen, great guy. I've chatted with him a few times. We got a great police department, and that's what they're for. We don't need the TSA here. What is the TSA? I'm babbling, sorry. But the more the federal government intrudes into our state, and we sit back and do a darn thing, and I'd like to say another word, but we don't do anything. We keep on saying, well, it'll keep on going. No big deal. Well, wrong. And they continue to keep us in fear. They continue to keep us in fear. Speaking of which, fear. A sad, tragic thing happened, and we all probably know about this in Aurora, Colorado, in that shooting, and I guess it was the premiere of Batman Beyond, whatever Batman, one of those guys, you know, Batman. That was horrible what happened. And I think his name was Holmes, James Holmes, I'm not really sure. But now they're pushing the issue of gun control again. Gun control. I read an article a couple of years ago about, I believe it was the FBI who did some statistics, and it showed that more people are murdered in this country by, guess what? Knives. That's right. Oh, I got a knife here. Hang on. Yeah. Oh, and it's not a switchblade. It's just, I got a knife here. More people, oops, sorry. More people are killed with knives than with firearms. So what's the scoop? We're going to have anti-knife or knife laws? You all know, you guys are intelligent people. Gosh, it is not the gun that kills people, it's the people. And also, in the Second Amendment of our U.S. Constitution, what don't you understand when it says, shall not be infringed? Clearer words could not have been written. Shall not be infringed. And we all know, if you've studied history, and I've studied a little bit, thank goodness I had a good bunch of nuns when I went to Catholic school. Yeah, I went to Catholic school, and I had the Dominican nuns, and we call them penguins. That's bad. I'm sorry, Sister Thaddeus. Anyways, they taught us really well. They taught us really, really well. They taught us that a person's action is what a person should be judged by. We cannot allow, well, of course we can if we want to, but we cannot allow this continued infringements of our constitutional rights. Our First Amendment is just being torn apart now too. Second Amendment, and getting back to the Second Amendment, every regime, and I say regime, every regime, China, Cambodia, we can go on and on. Every regime that has taken full control of their population and murdered millions worldwide, millions, happened after they removed, speaking of which, you look at Hitler, did the same thing. Always coming forward, everybody's coming forward, I mean the dictators, and I'm not saying our present administration is a dictator, but I'm saying dictators that have taken over their country says, oh, we want to keep the guns, we're going to protect you, the guns are bad. Well, they're not bad. It's the people. And once the regime or government of their country has control of all their firearms, what are you going to do? Hit them with a stick? The Second Amendment was put into the Constitution for a specific purpose, and that was to hold the people together and keep our government at bay. Please, do some research, study. It is not the guns, and yes, Aurora was horrible, gosh. And there's a lot of speculation about, I think again his name's James Holmes, I may be wrong, I think his last name's Holmes. Like I said, I didn't do my notes properly, so I'm just shooting at the hip. Anyways, there's a lot of questions about Mr. Holmes. First of all, from what I understand, the federal government gave him a $26,000 grant to study in neuroscience in a special, I guess, a special group of, I believe it was 14 or 16 individuals, maybe a little less. A guy who never had any kind of problems, just had, I think, a traffic ticket. Then he goes out and buys all this equipment, which people are wondering, well, where did he get all the money to buy all that? Of course, he bought an AR-15. What brand? I don't know. But, you know, doesn't matter. It's an AR-15 223. And then he went and shot all these people. And then, after he did that, he just stood there, and in a minute and a half, the police had him in custody with no resistance. That raises a little bit of flags up here. But we're not getting into the conspiracy theory. And you know what's funny? I look about a year ago when a few things were considered conspiratorial. Well, I said that well without any. Anyways, a lot of things were considered conspiratorial, but now are facts, documented facts. So when you say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, well, you might want to look a little deeper. All right, moving on. You guys have probably already switched the channel. Anyways. Oh, that's another thing. Speaking of gun control, I don't know if you heard about Mayor Bloomberg. Yeah, if I ever go to New York, I'm